So the first question I have is from Abhishek Chatar. So is it Dr. Jha, are you online? Yeah, is it, do I type in this question answer
No,
box or do
no,
I
no.
speak?
Yeah, it's only you have to answer the questions. No need to type, please.
Okay, okay. So, and would he listen? Would he say yes or no, or no? I just
Yes.
have to speak.
No, no. You just have to answer the questions, and the people who have the audience is there who have put their questions. They are able to hear you.
Okay. So I see that there is interesting question by Abhishek Chatar, who says that whether we can do uh, the carbon sequestration of this particulate matter. I know that sequestration is happening for carbon dioxide, but for particulate matter, no, I don't know. Oh, sorry, I can't answer about that. Then there is a question by Ved Prakash Verma, who is saying that, well, interesting, and then Delhi still is polluted. Why? I think that's a very loaded question, but I would just say that, well, I mean, there is some interesting development towards cleaning the air of Delhi. And definitely we are seeing that in last 2 years, there is some drop, however small it is, there is a drop in PM 2.5 concentrations. So if you look world around at the most recent example you have from Beijing, and they started working on this problem from 2008 in a big way. And by 2018, they could cut down by 50%, right? So our effort has started from only, I think, real efforts have started in last 1.5 years. So I think we'll have to wait for at least 5-6 years to see some significant results. Rohit is asking what is OOA1 and OOA2, that is oxygenated organic aerosol 1, oxygenated organic aerosol 2. These are very standard nomenclature and they are based on the oxygen to carbon ratio of particle, which you can get from aerosol mass spectrometer. How can we measure this particle size? Chandna, I don't know which particle size you are talking about, but there are a variety of instruments which you can use. For example, for fine most particles, you generally use scanning mobility particle sizer. If you're also interested about their chemistry, you use an online measurement, then you use aerosol mass spectrometer. If you want to measure accumulation to coarse mode particle size distribution, then you use optical particle sizer or aerodynamic particle sizer. If you want to measure the particles chemistry greater than 2.5 micron, then you have to use some kind of sampler. Abhishek Chatar is again back. Can we eradicate the aerosol population, which is the most hazardous concern? I think for the current generation in climate change perspectives, yes, I think it's definitely doable, but we have to put a lot more effort in that. We have Kakoli Malakar. So is there any method to determine the composition of droplets by using surface tension? Yes, I mean, that would be a very indirect way of doing that. You are right that surface tension is a function of particle size some way and chemistry definitely, but I think that's not the way. Surface tension and surface energy is a method, technique through which people generate droplets, but the droplet size are not measured using that technique. Keshav Chandran C. Nair, your ESNT paper 2020 showed aerosol measured using scanning aerosol monitor during the month of April. Is the study done during 2020 or earlier? If 20, is there any reduction in the level of aerosol during the lockdown period compared to earlier period? Well, the paper published in 2020 is based on the measurement from 2018 and 2019, but there are quite a few studies done during lockdown, looking at the lockdown and previous data set, and it shows that there is a 60% reduction during lockdown 1 compared to the same period from 2019. at least in PM 2.5 and in some other gases too. We have another question from again Abhishek. Can we choose a larger size so the particle preferentially forward scatter more in blue wavelengths than red to achieve minimal amount of sky whitening? Well, I mean, then you have to generate those large particles. But there are attempts for enhancing the reflection, you know, by white painting the rooftop, and France has been doing that. So I'm sure you might be aware of that. Anirban Panda is asking, if you move from one place to another in a same city, say Kanpur, do we get different value of the parameters like PM or WSOC? If so, are we taking average for a city? No, we are not taking average for a city. That's why in Delhi, if you see, we have put our instruments at 3 sites. Of course, these kind of instruments cannot be put at every location in a city. And to answer your first question, definitely depending on the proximity of sources, the composition will change. So the more places you measure, of course you have better information, but it's a choice between the logistics, resources, and what kind of question you want to answer. So you have to optimize. Ashwini Kumar, Professor Tripathi, you mentioned an increase in particulate nitrate during nighttime and PF along with chloride particles. My question is, what chloride particle means? Which compound is possibly the particulate chloride? Ashwini, we have actually measured the chloride, you know, in organics from mass spectrometer, and we also have elemental chloride, which has been detected by what is you call is the real-time XRF technique. That is exact. Both are showing that there are good amount of particulate chloride. The exact compound, I don't remember. If you send me a mail, I can answer it, you know, offline. Anirban Panda, what is the effect of burning plastic in environment? Interesting question. Of course, it can release a lot of hazardous pH, as you know, polyaromatic hydrocarbons. And some of them can definitely form particulate matter, and possibly it also releases some form of organics with chlorine in that. So that is still, I mean, those kind of combustion need to be done in controlled conditions and found out. Sir, any interesting result during lockdown? Yes, we have run this one set of experiment in collaboration with IIT Delhi, Professor Mayank Kumar and Dr. Vikrant, and some very interesting changes in the sources we have found, and those are still under consideration. Pila Mari Sri Krishna Kara, could you comment on the adhesion of PM10 on surfaces, especially during humid and non-humid conditions? Also the effect of ambient charge of these PM10. PM10 would have sufficient electrical charge, right? But their inertia is so high because of their mass, then the charge would not play any major role in their removal or any processes where they take part, okay, for PM10. So that's why when we try to understand the effect of charge, we focus on basically Etecon to accumulation mode particle, whether they can adhere during humid or non-humid conditions. Yes, I mean, definitely they can adhere, but I don't have a, a ready answer for that. Yang, at what extent iron absorption relative to brown carbon over IGP could impact the radiative forcing as both absorb at shorter wavelengths? Very interesting question from Yang. Yang, you can look into our paper in JGR, Mishra and Tripathi, where we have, and then there is a paper in GRL 2008 and 2007. And you would find that we have done some sensitivity study regarding radiative forcing for different, varying amount of hematite in dust particles. And now you also have these brown carbon refractive indices available, directly measured. So you could easily do these calculations. We have not done. I don't have a direct answer for that. Mridmay Chakravarti, what kind of policy development do you recommend in addressing OL loading? Well, I mean, there are a variety of options we have, but two, three which can be scaled and can have a large cascading impact, if you like to call, are uh, universal implementation of Ujjwala scheme, which would substantially reduce people's dependence on solid fuel for indoor energy related use, conversion to clean fuel industrial processes, and converting more to renewable for energy, you know, energy production. Anonymous attendee, how do you manage to control the large scale particulate matter of in environment currently? What are the challenges? Very difficult to control once they are in the environment. I think it's literally impossible, has not been done, has not been shown to have desirable level of success. So I think it's better to switch to cleaner production, cleaner energy sources, cut down on source. Shruti Tripathi, what are the most significant methods to measure SOA online? I think the best ones, what we know, are basically using either ACSM, that is aerosol chemical speciation monitor, or aerosol mass spectrometer, or SIMS, chemical ionization mass spectrometer, or EZ, which is electrospray kind of mass spectrometers. I'm not aware of any other thing which can give you online measurement of SOA. Dr. Vijay Singhal, how much is the contribution of SOA in PM 2.5 in Delhi? Anywhere between 20 to 15 to 30%, depending on the location and season. Lucky Oja, how you choose sample while collecting experimental data of these experiments? Well, I mean, we follow very standard technique using proper, inlet, etc. So you have to just read our papers. Mayank Bahuguna, can these aerosol nanoparticles be modified for a useful carbon energy resources, using a pollutant for graphene generation or any other regenerative sources? So you know that there are some people who are at a very localized, scale, or convert, sucking these particles. So there are some startups, you might be aware, who are converting them either for making inks or many other things. I'm sure that graphene can also be found using one of those techniques. Surat Dhawan, DTT method measures which ROS species? So there are quite a few ones. I think 3 or 4, you have to look into the ESNT, Environmental Science and Technology letter paper. Sanjay, are there any chemical effect of aerosols towards the different microorganism? Whether aerosols impact bacteria or something else. We know that some aerosols have, bioaerosols have bacteria in that. Whether aerosols themselves impact bacteria, I don't have a ready answer for that. I'm sorry about that. Keshav Chandran Sinar, thank you. Ekta Pandey, how to measure the particle concentration from aerosol generated? Are aerosol generated by coughing and sneezing? Yes, aerosols are generated when you cough or sneeze. How do you measure? There are a variety of techniques. I already mentioned that. More you can look into standard textbooks. Sorangshu, I saw that oxidative potential organic there is 5 times higher than these in USA. How does this compare with OP of black carbon sulfate? In other words, how toxic? So black carbon, toxicity, oxidative potential is not measured because you are looking for something which is still can react. Okay. So the black carbon oxidative potential, I don't think are measured, but maybe we have to check it again. Surat Dhawan, is there a difference between OC, BC and EC? Yeah, interesting question. There is a difference depending on how do you measure it, right? So first of all, OC is totally different. That's more like a sticky particle. That's not refractory. It is non-refractory. That's why there are so many variety in that. BC and EC, you get almost similar thing, but depending on how you measure it. When you use an optical method to determine, it is BC, but when you use a chemical method to determine, it becomes elemental carbon. But there is a very strong relationship, or you can get a good relationship between those two. Anonymous attendee, how can we define healthy air? So different countries have made what is called National Air Quality Standard, and depending on many, it's a very multi-layered process, but most importantly, based on the health-related inputs, you determine on different time scales, that is daily or yearly, what is the level of PM 2.5 which is acceptable. For example, for India, for daily PM 2.5, it's 60 microgram per meter cube. So if over a day it becomes 60 plus, then of course that day the air is unhealthy. If it stays within 60, then it is healthy. Vinod Trivedi, what could be mitigating measures to clear the fog, aerosols arising out of automotive pollution, trash burning? Well, first thing is that you don't do the trash burning, or you try to trap the PM which is coming from the automobile. That's the best way to do that, right? All other ways, of course, would not be so effective. And if you are trying to do that, probably you will be using some energy sources which will contribute more towards pollution. Okay. Mayank Bahuguna, I think some of the microbes are involved in recycling the PHB and aerosol generation present on a specific plant host. So they can accumulate the pollutants as we do in the case of lake system restoration to evaluate the pollutants present. Well, could be. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Okay. Shakshi Kasat, do pharmaceutical aerosols have a big contribution to environmental pollution? Not that I am aware of, because the kind of pharmaceutical aerosols generally are used for therapeutic purposes, right? So in the pharma industry, maybe the processes involved might be causing emissions of something which could be contributing to PM loading in environment, but per se pharmaceutical aerosols, whether they cause, we have not find, or it is to say that it is very difficult to pinpoint that whether it's coming from pharmaceutical industry. What is your prophecy on that? Well, I cannot vouch for that. Any correlation between COVID-19 and bad air? Well, I mean, generally the COVID-induced lockdown has gave us some good air, right? So I don't know why you are saying some with bad air. I have no idea. Dr. Vijay Singhal, how beneficial is ban on pet coke in NCR states in terms of SOA? So the pet coke definitely, in fact, somehow I was involved in that, and I believe that they have definitely led to some mitigation of PM 2.5. Exactly how much it has led to reduction in SOA, very difficult to say. I think for those kind of estimates, you need much better emission inventories, feed them into model, run the model, and then estimate it. Sarita Bamotra, what is the difference between black carbon and brown carbon? So basically, these are generally co-emitted species, and wherever you use a fuel which has carbon, and depending on the combustion, conditions, so how much oxygen is there, or oxygen to fuel ratio, you will have these get emitted, black carbon and brown carbon. Whereas the black carbon is like graphite, it's totally refractory and highly absorbing, as you see in your pencil. brown carbon is very sticky in nature and was only came into prominence about 1.5 or 2 decades ago. And that interestingly, at many places and for many emissions, the brown carbon could also, so black carbon and organic carbon are co-emitted, and brown carbon is that part of organic carbon which absorbs light. So at least what you have seen from the plots I showed, that at least in UV and near UV red, up to red even sometime, it absorbs light. Other than brown carbon, the organic carbon does not absorb light. Shrikant, University of Sao Paulo, COVID-19 has permanent or temporary effects on particulate pollution. Well, I think it's going to be a little more than temporary, but for how long, I have no idea. Arpan Sarkar, maybe it's a bit early to raise this question, but I'm very curious to know about the nano-dimensional particles of the atmosphere. At what altitude do they stay? How do they affect our health? Well, they do. So there are now concern about nanoparticles, primarily because of their very high abundance, right? Earlier, PM 2.5 was the main criteria for health because of their, you choose that based on their mass. But as you go, I showed that size distribution plot that smaller particles have much higher number, and the smallest one are those who can penetrate deep down into your body and can actually travel through your blood and enter into cells of different organs. So in that way, nanoparticles are very, very dangerous, but their influence on human health has just begun to, explode. Nina Arora, is there any relation between particulate size and OP? Not as of now, or I am not aware of that. Adinath Maji, what are the probable composition of organic compounds because simple hydrocarbon are not soluble? Yes, simple hydrocarbon are not soluble, but you know that a good number of these are water soluble. That's what we are seeing, right? So you could map them if you have a very, what you call a high resolution measurement of these organic fragments. And if you can now measure their WSOC part and remaining, you can really map that what compounds are actually contributing to the soluble part of it. Arpan Sankar, I'm curious to know about the nano-dimensional particles of the atmosphere, or is the same thing? Deva, is there any option to separate EC and OC for isotopic measurements other than thermal method? I believe that you could separate it out. Now there are methods. Maybe you could look into some of the work of Dr. Indra Sen of IIT Kanpur of Earth Sciences. I think he just has got a paper in environmental science and technology, and you might be interested in looking into that. Finally, there is a question from anonymous attendee again. Is there any option to separate EC and OC, or is the same thing? Okay. So I think I have answered almost all the questions what I see here.